The Teens Innovation Week has been something we've been thinking about for around 3 years now. We set out to come up with a program that will be hosted physically or in person in Kenya, that will bring together teenagers between the ages 12 to 18 years, mainly from class 7, class 8, or year 7, year 8, all the way to year 13, or what we would call in Kenya the Form 4 class.
We're just trying to introduce them to the different technologies that are within the industry. Since our programs, majority of them, students need to pay. So this is something to introduce them to that so that they can be able to see what we are offering. And apart from that, people who are not in a position to pay for our programs can get to gain from these ones as well.
That's the reason we have you in the room, to dream, to create great things. What will happen in the next couple of days is that we've put together students from various high schools who are in the target age group, and we'll basically run them through challenges. We'll also equip them with design thinking methodology, tools, and skill sets so that they are able to innovate and solve for the problems. They'll have mentorship sessions, and after that, there'll be the final judging session where we are keen to see what ideas come out of this. Now, in hackathons, we usually have a winner for the hackathon, but our philosophy is everyone is a winner.
So we are hoping to work with platforms like Safaricom, YouTube, and anything else, and anyone else out there. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Judges, the floor is yours.
As part of the judging team, one of the things we're putting a lot of emphasis on is on coming up with real life problems and also coming up with real and scalable solutions. And in our assessment, we're looking at what levels were the students and the participants able to conceptualize the problems, either to clearly enumerate and reflect upon them in a way that then it brings out the real life learning. The other thing we're looking at was the scalability of the innovations. To what levels then can these innovations or these interventions and solutions can be put into practice and can be scaled up. Also, we're looking at the elements of innovation and creativity, to the levels to which the students were able to bring in, critically think through the design, critically come up with approaches and solutions, and being able to just come up with technologies that are adaptable to the current environment and also adaptable to real life problems and solutions.
First of all, I'm really glad to be part of this ecosystem.
It's very much in our interest to build our pipeline to show teens and kids at school that there is this alternative path to pursue a career in tech.
What we want to achieve from this is to make sure that first, teens stay creative as they learn how to work around technology or work with tech tools, and two, to learn about SDGs, which are Sustainable Development Goals, and how they can use those goals to work on innovations to create social impact.
At Safaricom, our purpose is to transform lives, and we do this by embedding technology to be able to solve people's and society challenges, connecting people to people, people to opportunities, people to markets, and basically creating a thriving digital ecosystem. Innovation is about solving problems.
What is the impact of this innovation that I'm thinking of? How does it affect the society positively, negatively? How does it affect the environment, both positively and negatively? And how does it enable my economic growth and the community economic growth at large?
The power of collaborating and to bring kids together, for them just to learn about things and to be able to come up with solutions on problems that affect them. So for us is to be able to, we are bringing our kids to come and plug into coming up with solutions, because we know children are able to come up with solutions.
I think it's very important for us to be able to have such events, because it brings educators together in a collaborative way, whereby educators can be able to exchange ideas on different skills. They can also be able to exchange ideas on different pedagogies that they are going to be using.
STEM training for students with disabilities is more about inclusion, like in terms of when you think about the concepts that you want to train the students, because STEM at the end of the day remains the same, but having different like groups of people that you're now training the content to, now that makes the difference, because you have to like find a way that the content will still be delivered to someone who is blind, to someone who is not hearing.
Team Labs Africa partnered with other organizations like Safaricom and Pesa, and that way we were able to come together and make this event a success. Of course, we have tried other partners as well, and the ones that came through have been very important in making this happen. Teens Innovation Week is the first of its kind in Kenya, focusing on innovation for students.
Thank you very much for that breather. It was supposed to also help us to continue inviting or bring in all the other teachers that were also trying to get in to log in. Yes, that is Teens Innovation Week, one of the programs that we're offering, and it's going to be coming at the end of the year. So if you're working in a high school or in GSS, we actually start from GSS. Anybody who is 12 years and above becomes part of the Teens Innovation Week. We know 12 years is still a preteen, or what in America they call tween. But from 12 years, we are starting to recruit students and projects to be built, which will culminate in one of the cities. It could be Mombasa this time, we don't know. It could be in Kisumu, it could be in Kajiado. What city is in Kajiado, by the way? I'm trying to remember. And all that is supposed to try to bring down the level of innovation. So we start with whatever we teach, especially supported and chaired by the new curriculum, the CBC, is in line with what we are preparing our students to be. A research done by Microsoft and economists, one of the research centers around the world, detailed that the staff of 2030 will need to have certain attributes so that they can bring them to the students. Because at the end of the day, the teacher is a street bureaucrat. I mean, the teacher is a king to every student. So if the right attitude and the right skill set, the right methodologies, the right pedagogies are with the teacher, then we can be assured the next generation is going to not just survive, but it's going to thrive in the fourth industrial revolution. So when we talk about 21st century skills, whether it is collaboration, whether it is real world problem solving, or using ICT, not to teach, but to learn, then that is the person we're looking for. So Mr. Fred, Catherine, Prosper, and all the other participants who are here tonight, this is what we are doing. We're calling it the Transforming Education Series. And our business is simple: to bring educators together, think about pedagogies, methods of teaching, the art and science of teaching, to think about what is happening in the classroom, how can we bring down the four walls of our class and connect students to students, students to teacher, student to resources, etc. And thirdly, we're looking at what really works, what are the best practices, what are the tools that we can inculcate in our classroom, in our mega environment where we do not have enough of those resources and tools, but also with the current system of education that we are trying to implement, the competency-based curriculum. Away from that, we're also asking if teachers can come together as a community of practice, which is led by teachers for teachers. And in my own understanding, I feel that if we can do that, we can even make great strides. This is beyond a union like NAT or the CUPET. This is beyond a TSA guideline. It is beyond everything else you've seen and heard. It's about you and me. First, because I'm a teacher, just like you are, Omalalu. We are all one if we are prepared the next generation for action. Transforming Education series will now come every week, every weekend. Whether you have time or you don't have time, it will always be there for you. And so, allow me to request you that start preparing yourself, because Priscilla, you might be the next presenter. Kandija, we might come to Coast Girls High School and ask you to just tell us what it is that you're doing so that we can transform education together. At the end of this session, I'll be sharing a form where I'll be asking you, what do you want to do? How do you want to participate in this community? Don't just come and consume. Come and be a producer, then we consume together. God bless you. It now gives me the utmost opportunity and great honor to bring to us the first of the discussion around CBC, competence-based curriculum and basic education discussion. With us is a renowned leader, eloquent speaker, very calm in the way he speaks, very good in holding discussions and leading communities. Mr. Joel Kahindi of Kahindi Primary School in Kilifi is joining us tonight, not as the moderator, but as the keynote speaker and director of the discussion today. If he comes to you, Fred, he comes to you, Lynn, Godfrey, please be ready to say your experience and what you know and what you're experiencing, especially at the advent of the JSS, Junior Secondary Schools. With that said, Mr. Joel, I hand over this mic to you so that you can take us to the next level and we can have such a great moment together. God bless you and lead us, my brother.
Thank you so much, Felix, for that wonderful presentation, the first piece of introduction. It has really been good to have you around, considering the fact that you are so busy with so many activities all over. I want to also thank all the educators who have joined the call this evening. It is not in vain that you are here. Understand the sacrifice you make will always be of use, if not now, some days to come. So allow me to get to the center of discussion today. Today we are going to talk about the curriculum, which is the competence-based curriculum, but more specifically on the basic education curriculum framework. So before we get into detail, I want to share a small link, a short link that will capture the background knowledge in terms of the basic education curriculum framework. What is it that you know, and what is it that you actually can share? Because we want to make this discussion more interactive in the sense that we are all teachers and we need to learn from each other. So I'm going to put a link here. This link is a Padlet link, one of the applications that you can use in learning, and then use the link to just say what you know about the basic education curriculum framework. So I'll put the link in the chat. Please just click on the link. And then there are two questions there. You can respond to both or respond to one, but they are not very hard questions. Basically, we just want to know your entry behavior to this session. What is it that you know about the basic curriculum or basic education curriculum framework? Two minutes for that activity. If there are challenges, you can always say them out through the chat. Felix, are you able to see the link?
Yes, I can see the link and it takes me to a browser. The browser, I can see it has the two questions at the top, and I think what you can do as educators, guys, I think it doesn't require us to sign in. All you need to do is click that plus button down there, and then from there you can enter what you think. You can just write what it is, and yeah, be part of this. So let's explore together. You can change the background as well to be red. You can do whatever you want and experience this wonderful tool our brother is introducing us to. Thank you. Joy.
Thank you so much. I'm waiting for replies here. I'm seeing we are around 30, we are around, how many are we? I'm seeing we are around 35. So if you get like 10, a third of the population in the call, that will be good for us. At least 10 people. Felix, are you still sharing your screen from your end?
No, I'm not sharing my screen, but do you want me to share the screen?
No, it's okay, it's okay. I'm just asking. Someone is saying, I want to know what it entails. I know it's a good curriculum. Thank you so much. Who is next?
We are still writing.
Okay, please do. It is always good to explore the tools. We can't just talk about integrating ICT in the classroom setup and then we fail to try them out. Those tools we discuss about, we need to use them as educators. Someone is asking, what is BECF all about? Right, it's a good question. That it outlines the structure of the new education system for the country. Thank you so much. Julius from the chat is saying 10 tales about engagement on education issues by educators in Kenya. Thank you, Julius. Although you are not in the platform, but that's right. You'll get there in a while. Adija says it stipulates core competencies to be achieved in basic education. Wonderful feedback. Outlines the structure of the new education system for the country. That's good. So I want us to move to the next step. And the next step is your expectation. What's expecting out of this session? What is your expectation? I'm going to share a link again, and I want you to try this. This is a Jamboard. I'm giving this link on the chat, and I want you to pick a stick note, then put your expectation on the note, and then drop the note on the board. This is the link on the chat. Once again, Felix, I just confirm that the chat, the link is accessible from your end.
On it, on it.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, yeah. Actually, I can see many people have joined.
Yeah. So if you're using a phone, then you actually have to download the app. But if you have the Jamboard application on your phone, just check on the bottom left, you'll see a pen-like icon. You click on it, then it gets to other several action buttons. you need to act on the plus. There's a plus there. Once you hit the plus, then you pick a stick note. Write on it, drop the note on the board. Don't draw, please. Joanna saying he can't get me clearly. What about the others?
Yes, at one point you are dropping. Maybe I suggest for the purpose of for sustaining rigor and clarity when you're speaking, you can just can put your mic, not mic really, your what is it called, your image off for a while, and then you come back later on, Joel. You can hear me.
Okay.
Then I'll also request Prudence. Prudence, for the sake of your data, please put your mic, your image off as well. Put your off your camera so you can just engage once you do this. Ensure your mic is off and your camera is off so that we can save on data as well. And we use the shortest time possible. Joel, continue. Everything is in the right direction.
Okay. Thank you so much, Felix. I'm seeing responses coming. Someone is saying learn more on basic education curriculum framework. I'd like to know what informed the new curriculum. Felix, thank you. Learn about the BCFC. Okay. I would also like to learn more on basic education curriculum framework. Thank you. So as you do that, I want you to think in the context of a key inquiry question. The expectation you have put on the Jamboard, or the one that you just want to put on the Jamboard, state it in form of a key inquiry question. And this one, I'm going to allow you to use the chat. Just put your comment on the chat. The expectation that you have, try to frame it to be a key inquiry question. And remember, key inquiry question is an open-ended question, one that guides learning. Who is coming first? Okay, thank you, Priscilla. Priscilla is saying, what is the basic education curriculum framework? That's a good key inquiry question. Thank you so much. Okay, someone is saying, how safe are we with the basic education curriculum framework now that it is all new concepts and approaches? Wonderful, thank you so much. All right, so allow me to get into the content part of the discussion. You can still keep the discussion going in the chat. If maybe you are caught up by internet or some issues, you can find your way out and still put your the comment in the chat as well, so that we can read it later. So our main discussion tonight is about the basic education curriculum framework. And what we will discuss here is just the roadmap. A framework in this case is the structure. If we consider the framework to be like the human skeleton that carries the flesh, and also if we consider the framework to be like a car, then we can say the framework is the chassis of the car. It gives direction from where we are and where we want to be in terms of the curriculum reforms that the Kenyan government is trying to bring into the Kenyan schools. So there's a question here that asks, why then should we have the basic education curriculum framework? Why should we have it? Or why do we need to get down and discuss about the curriculum framework? So one thing that you must understand is that the framework has in it the core competencies. We shall see the core competencies in a while, but when we talk about competence, it's the ability to do, the skills, the knowledge, and the values that you acquire in the process of learning. But more so, the to-do skill is what is focused in the competence. Then the basic education curriculum framework focuses on adopted curriculum approaches. It looks at various approaches on how the curriculum can be implemented in the classroom. Then it also checks on the general learning outcomes. And the general learning outcomes are outcomes that are geared to be achieved at the end of a learning, a specific learning level. For example, if about the early years education, that is from PP1 to grade 3, what are those learning outcomes that at that point when the learner is transiting from grade 3 to the middle school, grade 4, what are some of the outcomes that this learner is expected to have achieved? Then the BECF also focuses on the learning areas, and the learning areas are what we also refer to as the subjects. Then we have the necessary policies that will facilitate implementation of the curriculum reforms. So the policies, these are the laws that govern at the direction of the CBC in general. Moving down, we are also talking of the appropriate pedagogical practices, the best teaching methods that can be adopted as we embrace the CBC, or rather the competence-based curriculum. Then BECF also talks of formative and summative assessment approaches, but more pronouncing on formative as opposed to the 844 curriculum. The framework also supports programs for CBC. In this, we are referring to programs like guidance and counseling, of which we know we have guidance and counseling in our schools, but are they functional? Do we have clubs and sports? Do we have support programs like chaplaincy in the schools? Are they functional? So there's a roadmap. The blueprint is also, available in the curriculum framework. Then we are looking at the history of curriculum reforms in Kenya since independence, and we are saying that since independence, that is 1963, the country adopted the 7423 system of education. And so the first curriculum reform is one that was done in the year 1985. And this came as a result of a recommendation of the Presidential Working Party, which recommended that there should be an establishment of the second university. And I believe the second university is supposed to be Moi University, if I'm not wrong. So the country adapted the 844 structure with the guiding philosophy that education is for self-reliance. But something along the way, things went wrong, that people or the graduate of 844 system were not really self-reliant. And that's why we shall see later on the rationale as to why the CBC came into existence. So the successive curriculum reviews undertaken between the years 1992, 1995, the year 2000, and subsequent to several task force reports and the summative and formative education reports. So the task force on the realignment of the education sector came because of the Vision 2030 and the Constitution 2010. Remember, we had a constitution which was also focusing on some elements of curriculum reforms and where we are and where we want to be in the year 2030. So some of these recommendations is that the competence-based curriculum was to be enacted, or rather it was to be adopted. It was actually the idea that CBC was to be started in the Kenyan schools. So flexible education pathways, which is also in line with CBC, and this comes at the senior school where we realized that at that point, the students are able to specialize. Specialize in terms of what they are doing best, and what they are showing, and regarding the things that they have been doing from the previous classes. So a national learning assessment system, those who have interacted with the NEC portal, there is that element or section of CBA, the competence-based assessment section. More often, we get assessments from NEC. We call them class-based assessment or school-based assessment. They are uploaded in the system. The school is supposed to download, administer the assessment, and then upload the scores. So that one is also taken care here. The introduction of national values and national cohesion. At one point, it was realized that we are losing direction in terms of values and national cohesion. So the recommendation in this task force was the national values need to be reintroduced and they should guide us as Kenyans through the curriculum. So why then do we have the reforms? Why then should we bring in the discussion of the curriculum reforms all around? So the reforms are also supported by the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Article 53, which states that 1B states that every child has a right to free and compulsory basic education. So that's why you realize that a student finishes class 8 and then this person has to go to secondary school, whether the parents have money or not. We talk of the 100% transition. So that's why every learner has to get that education and it's compulsory at that level. Then Article 10 of the same constitution, it talks of national values and principles of governance. So the principle of governance are about responsibility, about the national values we have talked earlier. Is it what is it that we need to do and we do it right every time? Those are the values. Then chapter 6 of the same constitution talks of leadership and integrity. You are a leader, yes, but are you a leader of integrity? Maybe that could be the big question. Are you able to do the right thing even when no one is watching you? That's about integrity. So promoting Kiswahili. Kiswahili is a national and official language. Those who didn't know, it has a space here. Even you can write a letter seeking for a job in Kiswahili. Only if you are sure that the recipient of the letter can read Kiswahili. So it has its space here. Then it's also emphasizing on the teaching and learning of KCL and Braille the Kenyan Sign Language. And we have seen most of the time, if we are watching the news, we also have an interpreter who uses sign as a language to communicate to the audience. Then developing and promoting the use of indigenous language. Little did you know that indigenous language can be studied in school. And so it has its provision, the curriculum, and one can do indigenous language up to PhD level. And in this case, the indigenous language may not necessarily be your mother tongue. Then emphasis on communication formats and technologies accessible to persons with disabilities. Again, we are talking of tools like Immersive Reader. Those who have interacted with the Microsoft tools, you realize that there's Immersive Reader there, which takes care of learners with special needs in terms of hearing, in terms of sight. So it goes on beyond the Vision 2030, integrating early childhood into primary education. There was a disjoint earlier on that the ECD was disjointed with the primary section. And so the principal of the head teacher was not even aware, even understand. So when the student gets into the primary, then it seems like there's a totally disjointed, totally different environment, and the transition was not smooth. And so it was recommended that the two areas to be integrated. Then reforming the secondary curricula, modernizing the teacher training. As we are talking, CBC is the center of discussion in the universities, those who are doing education. It's also a center of discussion in the teacher training colleges because we expect that the graduates who are supposed to come and teach in the Kenyan schools need to grasp of the CBC. Then developing programs for learners with special needs, among other things. So summative evaluation of the 844, academic and examination oriented. This is what the 844 had. So very little use of formative assessment, which we call assessment for learning, but emphasis on assessment of learning. And we have seen that assessment of learning, that is it's more of the grades. If you're not an A person, then you don't have a place in the society and you're deemed to have failed. So that one is about the 844, but we are moving away from that. So did not provide flexible education pathways. This is the 844. We are seeing that for CBC, we are having pathways. Students can specialize in STEM. They can go in the line of arts. They can also do social sciences, depending on their strengths in those areas. But then with 844, that was not checked on. Then there was this, what we call skills gap identification. What the market demands is not what the schools provide. The marketing and the skills that are scored. To the East African community was also another area that was checked because we are not living in isolation. Kenya does not live in isolation. If now countries can come together and collaborate, then who are we as teachers? We also need to embrace collaboration. So we are seeing the Eastern African states do up a framework to harmonize on the curriculum. Kenya is a member of the East African community. We have the others like Tanzania. The most recent country to join there was Southern Sudan. So we want to harmonize. There was a need to harmonize at the curriculum so that a graduate or someone does a master's degree in Tanzania, when it comes to Kenya, that certificate or the skills are also relevant in Kenya. So as a member of the East African community, there was that kind of need so that we are just moving as a team. So we also have the global standards that we talk of UNESCO IBE, and this UNESCO IBE is a body that checks on the excellence of curriculum and related matters. So it says that curriculum review is supposed to be done in every 5 years. So looking at our curriculum, it had overstayed. So its time was due for the reform. Then we are talking of sustainable development goal number 4, which is ensuring quality education. The SDGs, 17 of them, one is about quality education. So we are also borrowing that idea globally that education should be equal. And that one is a strong point as into why we are supposed to move from the 844 to CBC. Then with the best international practices, benchmarked, people benchmark. They went to see what is doable and what is the best practice that we can also borrow. So I believe these people also visited Finland to see what was being done in terms of the curriculum, and then Kenya should also borrow a leaf from there, but now contextualize with our current situations at home. Then, of course, we are talking of the 21st century learning skills and approaches that we as educators, we can't just speak on the 21st century learner skills, that the learner needs to be a communicator, for example. He needs to be a problem solver. And we educators are far away from that. So we have to lead as example. So I want to ask Felix. Felix, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you clearly.
I don't know whether it's possible.
Yes.
You group us into 4 groups.
Yes.
And then we get to do a task here. And the task is about the 21st century learner. We need to identify the elements of the 21st century learners and then bring out the indicators. For example, if we say the learner has to be a communicator, then what is it that we shall check into this learner to say that this learner is indeed a communicator as a skill in the 21st century?
Joel?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I'm looking at, I think from my side, I cannot do the, what are they called? Those breakout rooms. So
yes,
what I'll do is I would love to share some Jamboard links, 3 links.
Yes.
And I'll require specific people to join each and every one of them. If you give me a moment, I will do that. I'll just go ahead and, create a Jamboards for various groups, and then you can assign the tasks based on what you're saying.
Okay, so I'm going to put the task in the chat. So if you find yourself in group 1, then you are going to talk about the learner, the 21st century learner, as a collaborator. So group 1. Group 1.
The 1st century learner collaborator.
Yes.
1,
yes. 21st century learner collaborator. Then group 2. 21st century learner, critical thinker.
Okay. Okay, so while Joel is organizing for, we are in 3 groups, right, Joel?
Yes, 3 groups.
So I'm going to share the first link to the following people. So Anne Mwaki, Catherine, Faith Kinywa, Fred Oloya, Hore, Jacqueline, Irene, Jacqueline Ouma, and Johanna. So we have, again, I'm going to say, we have Anne Mwaki, Catherine, Faith, Hore, Irene, Jacqueline Ouma, and Johanna. Those are the first people to discuss about the collaborator, and I'm placing the link on the chat. The other people do not join that link. I'll say that again. That link is for collaborators, and I'm calling the following people at that time: Anne Mwoki, Catherine, Faith Kinywa, Hore, Irene Rita, Jacqueline Ouma, and Joanna. Those are the collaborators. Please go share your ideas on how the university learner looks like when you think about collaboration. And then I'm going to call the second group in a moment. Joel, as you share with me the last, the third one,
Okay.
to group 2.
So group 2. Group 2, the learners are. Did you get group 2?
Yes, group 2 is a critical thinker.
Yeah, true. Critical thinker. So once you get into that discussion platform, please let's get one who will summarize the points. Shall give that person the mic 1 minute, and then we hear from you. So that also will apply to group 2 and group 3. Group 3 should be a communicator.
Thank you, Joel. And I'm now coming back to the team, and I'm saying the following people shall handle critical thinking. 21st century learner as a critical thinker. We have Jomba, Julius Kwicha. We just go down. Jomba, Julius Kwicha, Juma Mishi, Kamau Moiruri, Khadija Suleiman, Kiroi Daniel. Then we have Kisao Kanzungu and Leah Wasilwa. Those from Jomba to Leah Wasilwa. We are looking into the third and the second item, that is the learner being a critical thinker. And the link is on the chat as well. I'm also going to do that in the WhatsApp groups in a moment. So the second link is for group 2, the critical thinker. And the third one is the collaborator, the communicator.
The learner, the 21st century learner as a communicator.
Members, you can go just start jotting your ideas, just as Joel has indicated on that Jamboard. Should be able to proceed now. Group 3. What does it mean to be a communicator when it comes to the learner?
Sure. You know, some of these things we know them by saying, but now when we try to bring them down to realities, it may not be actually meaningful to some of us. So we want to bring an insight that if this learner is said to be a communicator, what is it that he or she can do in regard to the 21st century skills is concerned?
Thank you, Joel. Once again, members, I'm coming to Lynn Nanjala, Millicent Motondume, Mwanakombo, I think Manaisha, that one. I have Nicodemus Tunje, Felix Omalalu, Ovin, Philip Langat, Priscilla, Prosper, Prudence, and Double Prudence Murabu, Momtusi, Alphonse Kingi, Wilberforce Munga. All that group, all the way from Lean. We are in group 3. We are discussing on the third aspect. And if you are stuck, you can share on the WhatsApp group also. If you are stuck, Bora, you know which one you are focusing on. You can share on the WhatsApp group, share on the chat here. You should be able to proceed. So shall we begin? Joel, I'll request you to play a video for us, or I can be playing something as
you play. If you have a video related, you play it as we give 5 minutes for this activity.
Yes. Okay, give me a moment. People, you start sharing. If you are a collaborator, I'll start group 1 is a collaborator. What do you want to see in a student who is a collaborator? What do you want to see in a student or learner who is a critical thinker? What does critical thinking mean to you as a teacher in the classroom and to the learner? And what do you want to see in the third group as a student who is a global, complex communicator, or one who can communicate with ease? You can go to the chat, you can say which group you are in and what you're saying. You can start with collaborator and then you say another one communicator, then you say another one critical thinker, and you continue. If you feel critical thinker is a long one, you can say just a thinker. Who is a critical thinker when it comes to a student?
Sure.
I'll play my video here. Joel, have you started seeing some points coming up?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, Kirui Daniel says he goes to Google Play Store. Thank you very much. If it says that, just don't worry. You can just start sharing on the platform. You can just share on the platform, the chat, say what you think about the global, is it communicator, collaborator, or thinker? All of them are there, Lynn. They are on the chat there. I'm going to tag you here, Lynn. In Angela, there you go. I've linked you to the link, but it doesn't matter, whatever it is, you can just proceed and share. You can share on the WhatsApp, you can share on, almost said LinkedIn, on the link here. Whatever comes, you just share your mind. See, someone said there are people trying to draw right lines there on communicator. Says Vana's confidence discussing. You can actually finish your statement by your name if you can. He or she asks questions. You can just say at the end of it, write your name, James or Lynn or something like that. Complex communicator, what does he do? All right, I see some people doing some good job there. I see to become an effective communicator, you should be able to, there you go. Let's keep sharing them. And then we'll call one of you to share. And I encourage you that put your name down there after you've entered your name, or even if it's on chat here, you can say, like Omalalu said, a global communicator, a learner should practice turn taking, sorry. Malalu, thank you. You can also continue doing that. Khadija, we are waiting for you and your team. Waiting for Mishi as well. I don't know which group she's in. I'm waiting for, can see some people from the team from Critical Thinker. What comes to mind? I can only see 3 people in the chat, but I cannot see them speaking. I'm waiting for them to speak. Yes, one person is starting to do something. I'm waiting for you. Right, the person in charge of is it communication? Oh, collaborator. I see people are saying amazing stuff, reaching us others for assistance. Thank you very much. Joel, I was just wondering, where do you get that information from? You are sharing very pertinent issues and things that only ministers of education speak about. Are you planning to become our next CS education? Because I will give you a challenge. All right, collaboration ensures holistic delivery of tasks. Case example, during scientific investigation, scientific inquiry here. You know, learners will work together to put up, to set up and to make observations. Wow. Please, can you just guys put your name at the end so that we can give them credit? Otherwise, someone can use your statement and you can never claim it. Collaboration enables learners to work with others to deliver a task. Right. Independent thinker. Hey, critical thinkers are coming here. Questions things, inquisitive mind during experiments. Thank you very much. Please put your name at the end.
Yeah, put your name at the end so that we get to know whose comment it is. We can, we want to authenticate.
Oh yeah, Jacqueline says what I just read was from Jacqueline. Jacqueline, go back there and enter your name, I mean like your information. What I am not able to access is my WhatsApp. Let me see if there is anything on WhatsApp as well. Then we can keep going. I don't think I have received so much from WhatsApp.
Okay, Felix, I think the members are doing well. We can summarize by taking response from one person or two, male and female. Just pick the mic and talk on behalf of the group. Please, 1 minute for each.
Maybe with Joel, we can start with the communicator, and someone can just come up and it's not communicator. We start with the collaborator. Anybody who can just.
Anybody from the group? Anybody from the group collaborator?
Hello.
Yes, Jacqueline, we can hear you. Jacqueline, we can hear you.
All right. 21st century learner as a collaborator is one who is an all-round runner, capable of taking up tasks, but also bearing in mind the other individuals that he or she has within his or her group. Like I cited a case example, when you're carrying out our activities in class, let's say a group discussion or carrying out an investigation in science, during the setup, they would work hand in hand, putting up the setup together, make observations, and also be keen on the other people's like observations that they make, and then critique in a way in which they accommodate each and everyone. And lastly, from whatever observations they make, as a group, they would collaborate together to come up with a conclusion of the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. That is a very wonderful and comprehensive statement. We appreciate. Second group, the learners are critical thinker.
Hi, Joel. It's Khadija.
Yes,
okay.
Khadija, welcome.
I don't know where my group members disappeared to, but this is what I have. A critical thinker.
Okay.
A learner who is a critical thinker is inquisitive, he's curious, he needs to learn on his or her own. And then self-confident, and this is where self-efficacy comes from. They are ready and willing to do anything so long as they are learning. They also communicate effectively and they synthesize information. So they do this by integrating multiple sources of information, identifying patterns and relationships, and developing a coherent understanding of complex topics. And they are also very ready to help others, and they encourage others to learn too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to the idea that some students ask very hard questions on teachers, and then the teacher says, "Now, this is not for me. Please." Thank you, Hadija. Third group, the learner as a communicator. Anyone from the third group? Okay, so
okay, maybe someone else can take from. I was not able to view your screen as you shared, but maybe someone else can take it up so that it's now clear. And I got it when you have started. So someone can take it up, please.
Right. So, do we have any person from the third group who wish to talk about the learner as a communicator?
I think Jumabishi wants to say something.
Okay, Juma. Mishi, please go ahead.
I just want to add on the learner as a critical thinker. A learner who is a critical thinker is a learner who can be able to do research, who can be able to analyze a given task and can be able to evaluate it. He or she thinks beyond the normal learner or the normal things that we do in class. That is a critical thinker, according to me. That's
okay,
all I have to say.
Thank you, Juma.
Joel, with what Juma Misha said, once I played a video for kids in a lesson, and then the kid asked me, you know, the way you tell a story, and then there was Abraham, he had a son called Ishmael and another one called Isaac. So the boy asked me, is that God talking? And that is a critical thinker for me. Maybe we can have another one now, someone speaking about the Nicodemus, can we go? Nicodemus, I think Nicodemus is up.
Good communicator. He or she responds to questions. Also, should be good listener. Ask some questions every now and then.
Okay, thank you so much, Nicodemus.
Maybe I can add on. I can also
yes,
add on as a communicator. The learner is able to express himself or herself, and also able to learn from others, the communication or the sign language, even from other colleagues or other learners. So there is a kind of an interlink between the learners, where they can get what they are learning about.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that contribution. And so we are saying the 21st century learner is a communicator. Communication is in different forms. Is the learner able to write? The learner able to express himself or herself? We have seen cases where those who go to jail, sometimes they fail to express themselves. They fail to submit their cases. And so because they lack words, then they are deemed to be culprits. So we want these learners to communicate, and it all begins just right from the lower levels. So all these items stated here, a problem solver, are those the learners who are caught up with problems and then they think of hanging themselves. How best are they engaged in a way that they can solve their own problems moving forward? Then as a collaborator, are these learners able to work in teams, work in groups, and do they make substantive decision together? Is the work they do in teams or in groups interdependent, in the sense that the part of the work I do and the part of the work my friend does should come together later on and form one product. So that's what we call a collaboration. So we have seen that if we are not very keen, then we shall bring children or learners who are individual thinkers, people who need to be just alone. And in that case, then the country will not be moving anywhere. So they need to be innovators, financial, economically literate, and they also need to be civically engaged, among other things. Then as someone was trying to put it, just 1 minute, are you able to see my screen, Felix?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
I'm now able to see.
We are having a discussion today, the vision. What is the broader picture? Where do we want to take this learner from where he is, and where do we want to take this learner maybe in the years to come? So we are saying the learner should be engaged, the learner should be empowered, and should be an ethical citizen. So this is the vision. Are you engaging the learner in the learning process, or is it that you teach and you go, and then you assume that learning has taken place? At what level is the learner engaged? Then what is the mission? Nurturing every learner's potential. We believe that each learner has something better he or she can do. So we are not only focusing on the grades. The learner is not good in mathematics, but is good in music. Let the learner do music and you'll see wonders. Then there are pillars that govern, there are pillars that derive, or there are pillars that are inscribed in the curriculum. And the first pillar is values. Then guiding principle comes second, and theoretical approaches comes third. So what are these values? What are these guiding principles? And what are the theories behind the learning in terms of the CBC implementation? So there are so many values, but the curriculum has pronounced 8 of them. And one of them is love, responsibility, respect, unity, peace, patriotism, social justice, and integrity. So remember these values. We usually say the values are caught, but they are not taught. So this means that you cannot get into a class and say, now we want to learn about unity. We want to learn about peace. All these values are integrated. They are infused in the learning experiences. And so as learning goes by, as learning continues, we expect these values to be inculcated as part of behaviors accepted in the community. Then CBC talks of the principles, the guiding principles. One of them is opportunity. The pathways open opportunity for different categories of learners. We are talking of musicians. We are talking of artists, those who can draw. We are talking of people who can play football. We are talking not only those doctors that you have ever been dreaming that when I finish education, I complete my learning, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer. If now those jobs are not there, or they are not enough for everyone, then we need to have different pathways. Excellence is also another principle that the CBC curriculum focuses on excellence, not perfection, but what you're able to do it in the best of your ability. Diversity and inclusion, parental empowerment and engagement, the parents. We have had discussions previously that parents are overwhelmed. The homework is too much for them. Teachers are pushing everything to the parents, and the parents are saying we have paid the fees. Why then does the school bring the homework to us? But then they need to have a connection. For smooth learning, the parent, the teacher, and the learner himself should be reading the same page. Community service learning. Today, when you talk of an activity like growing the trees, for example, it's a project in school. How best can you engage the learner to go and show how to make a nursery bed, for example, for people outside the community, and then establish the plants and plant them during the rain season. Okay, differentiated curriculum, learning, community service learning comes as another approach. Then the theories of learning. Whatever is done by research done by scholars. So one of the theories is instructional design, which I believe this one talks of the designing of the teaching and learning materials. We have heard that teachers are told to have their rooms to have talking walls. So these walls should talk if they have words or they have information. So that comes as a result when the teacher is able to prepare effective learning materials. And so that theory focuses on that. Then Vygotsky, social culture, that the social context, the social environment, and the culture in which the learner comes from affect or has an shapes the mind of this learner as well. Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, that we are gifted differently. The way I interpret data is not the way Felix would interpret data. So maybe I use more of graphics to understand. Someone else is more of kinesthetic, and so on and so on. Then Piaget here now is about the developmental stages, that at every stage, the mind is designed to understand certain concepts. So as you move and climb the ladder, then to grasp more concepts as well. So the competencies are 7. Competencies are 7. Communication and collaboration, critical thinking and problem solving, imagination and creativity, citizenship, digital literacy, learning to learn, self-efficacy. There is going to be a special session for this. Maybe for now, let's take them as they are, but you can also pick them as your extended learning. Go and find out more about it. Then what is 8.4 to CBC? So 8.4 is content focused. It focuses on content, but CBC, it's about the competencies. 8.4 again is rigid. It has limited, it's rigid and prescriptive curriculum with limited flexibility. But CBC, there are several pathways, as we said earlier. Then CBC focuses on 8.4 focuses on summative assessment, which usually comes at the end of a learning period, like the KCP, KCSE, with ranking. But there is a balance this time round. When you talk of CBC, we have assessment as learning, assessment for, also blended with assessment of learning. Then emphasis on schooling. Which school did you go? And so if you say, I went to Kenyatta High, so this person expects you to have an A, but that's not. Could you please mute? Okay, thank you. So we are saying the emphasis is on education. What remains after you have gone to school is what matters, not the school. So, and then teaching versus learning. Do not just teach and go. Make sure you teach and then check if learning has taken place. Now, the organization of CBC here, in terms of the levels, we have from early years education, that is pre-primary, which is 2 years. Then grade 1 to 3, all this section between pre-primary and grade 1 to 3, we call it early years education. Then grade 4 to grade 9, we call it middle school. Right. Then you realize that these double arrows from this age based, we have the stage based and we have the age based. So these double arrows means that if a learner is pre-primary, but if is through assessment the learner is found to have some special disabilities, then because of that assessment, he can be forced to cross to the stage based. And if the learner is found to be doing well, he can come back to the age based. So as also in grade 1, 2, and 3, the double arrows means the learner can cross over. But at grade 4, moving onwards, it is only one-sided. Moving to grade 9, these learners are specializing. Grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, the learner can take arts and sports science, learner can go for social sciences or go for STEM. Now, if a learner completes grade 12, this learner has option. He can directly go to the world of work with those skills. This learner can go to the university. Please mute. The learner can go to the university or the tertiary education and training colleges, after which he joins the world of work. But again, you see here on top, we have double arrows, meaning if this learner didn't go to the university directly, he can still come back to the university after he's has joined the world of work. Okay, so I don't know up to that far. Could there be a question? We are linking the general learning outcomes to the national goals of education. This one you can check from you can read about the national goals of education and how they are linked into the various learning areas. And then the learning outcome for early years education, they are stated here. Can also read about that. Then the pre-primary and lower primary areas are learning areas. These are the subjects of which you can also get them from the curriculum design. The learning outcomes for middle school, that is grades 4 to 9. They are also stated here, also found in the curriculum design as well. So there are these learning areas of, we call them learning areas in the lower levels of learning. As grade 4 to 9, we call them subjects. They are stated here. But for junior school, there are 12 learning areas. There are 12 subjects. Adding to 2 optional subjects, then the total will be 14. So value-based education, that is the learner support programs in CBC. We have values-based program, VBE, parental empowerment, community service learning, and then clubs and societies. Now, this is just an illustration to show the movement between the CBC classes and the 844 classes. This one was before the task force that gave recommendation previously that junior secondary should be domiciled in the primary. This was before then. So we realized that there was going to be a double intake in the secondary school when we have grade 7 and Form 1, 2023 joining senior secondary school. But there is a relief now that grade 7 are in the primary section. So at that point, Felix, do I have 5 minutes to play a Kahoot? Hello, Felix.
Your time is up by 30 minutes, but I don't know what the members think. They can also, if you are saying we can do a Kahoot as we end of 3 minutes, not of 5 minutes. You can, yeah. Someone is saying yes. Langari is saying, I don't know what Langari is saying.
I'm saying very interesting indeed. In fact, you could have been added some more time to. Thank you.
Okay, let's do the Kahoot. Give us the link. We'll do it now.
Okay. Me give you the link. We give the link. Let me stop sharing this.
So members just go to kahoot.it so that we save time.
Yes.
Kahoot.it. Get ready.
Kahoot.it.
This is like 2 days training. And it's intense.
Yeah, surely.
Sorry, I placed the wrong place. Yeah. Place it on the chat, on the WhatsApp, and I'm also playing the link here so that we can just.
Kahoot.it. If you're using a phone, you can split the screen if you can. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, okay. Yes, we can see.
Getting
so
ready,
we just pick the. Yes. The code is 902, people, 902 93 47. It's on the chat as well. Pin. So I'm placing it also in the chat.
Thank you, MK. Joining.
Let's join.
Richard, thank you so much, KP. Jackie O, welcome on board. Prudence, XYZ. People have nicknames. Fakey.
Please repeat the pin.
The pin is on the chat. It's on WhatsApp as well. It's 9. It's 9.
Yeah, Mango.
9.
29 344.
Okay, thank you.
Wilberforce, welcome. Prosper, Adija.
All right, okay.
Anybody else struggling to get in? Want to start? Irui, welcome.
Okay, I think Joel will start, and then the other members will still guide them to join.
Right.
Joel, you can start.
Yes, we are starting. We are starting. If you are still struggling to join, you can still come up. What is the rationale for curriculum reforms? Mark all correct answers. The faster you do it, the better for you. Mm-hmm. 15 respondents. Right. Who is on top? KP. Adija number 2. But that's still a long way. Learning outcomes are expressed through the application of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Mark as true or false very quickly. Right. Who is leading? KP remains on top. Adija number 2. K. Jackie O. Number 3. True false. Assessment of the core values should take place throughout the learning process. Okay, 19 responses, 19 people got it right. Who is leading? KP still on top, Hadija on fire. Number 2, Felix. Thank you, MK, coming up. True, false. Core values, the core values in CBC are 7. How many are they? They 7 or 10 or 8. Core values are how many? Okay, I don't know how many are they. Someone is missing here. MK coming on top, congratulations, but still too early. A bit XYZ. True, false. Patriotism refers to disloyalty, love and devotion for one's country or nation. What do you think? What do you think about this? 2 people missed. Disloyalty. It's about loyalty, not disloyalty. Think about that question once more. MK on top, Kabad. XYZ. Thank you, Sasa. Essence statements describe, what do they describe? Essence statements. Who is on top here? MK, Bado yuko juu, Kabit, XYZ, and Ongeri coming up. True, false. Theoretical approach is one of the pillars of CBC. Fast as possible. Click true or false. If I get 16 answers, I move next. 4 people missed. Think about it. Right, MK still on top, Kaban number 2. Quiz. Identify the type of assessment approach that comes at the end of a learning period. Which one is it? I get 10 answers, I move next. Who is on top? MK, good work. XYZ number 2, Kabal number 3. Moving so fast. Among these is not a theory of learning and assessment. Which one? I get 10 answers, I move next. Who is leading? Who is leading? Who is leading? Prosper from behind and moving on top. MK number 2, XY number 3. Right. The following include 7 core competencies of CBC, except. Which one is not? 10 answers are enough in the interest of time. Who is on top? Kabad coming up. Prosper, MK number 3, XYZ number 4. Second last, which statement provide the best definition for the term values? I get 10 answers. We go to the last question. Okay, On top of the ladder, Kabat, Prosper number 2, Adija number 3. Adija, moving so fast. Last question, guys. Nurturing every learner's potential is the vision for CBC. What do you think? All right, let's see. Number 3, Hadija, congratulations. Number 2, Prosper, good work. Number 1, clap for number 1, Kabaddi. I think Kabaddi is a game. Congratulations, Kabaddi. Thank you, Felix. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say it was not fair. There was rigging because there are 7 competencies of CBC, and I said that and I lost, and I was at one position 3, and now look at me, I'm the last. It's not fair. Thank you, Joel, for such an informative session there.
It was about
Yes.
values. They are not 7, Felix.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting us.
Congratulations.
We need to get something bad. We need to get a present for what he has done. And members, it's just like as usual. We're going to contribute, all of us who played. No, I'm kidding. We are going to find something to ensure that Kabaddi, Mr. Kamau, is going to get something from this.
By the way,
so well done.
Felix, Mr. Kamau is our CSO. CSO in Rabai.
Oh, that's why. Mr. Kamau, well done. Yes, thank you very much. And maybe the next presentation should be done by you and Ovin Nakago. You guys should prepare yourselves to just share your knowledge with us so that we can know how to show us your ways, how you win, together with Prosper as well and Khadija. Thank you very much, everyone. I think we are clocking 10 o'clock. This is unusual. I think we should be able to stick to up to 9 so that we can also spend time with our families and our children, and we do not overstretch ourselves too much on Saturdays, because this is going to be coming back to back. But it's okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Can we take a photo together? Turn on your camera, bring yourself to the screen. Let's do this. And then we call it a night. Right, thank you. All right. Hey, Prosper is so excited. What did you do, man? We should get a present for the top 3. Mpaka Khadija. Asante sana. Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the good work. You see, if it's possible to have a large gallery. And I'm going to make Joel to stop spotlighting. And now, don't know, Joel, your camera is fully. I don't know what you need to do, Joel. I don't know if you are sharing or something. I don't know. Something is not just right somewhere on your side. You might need to stop sharing. Joel Kahindi, thank you. And now here we are, the great men and women from across East Africa coming together for a discussion so informative. We just take a photo and from there we go and rest. So you keep smiling as I take mine. I'll just take one. 3, 2, go. Thank you. That's it from me. I don't know, you can take a photo as well yourself. These meetings are important. Please always go to your LinkedIn profile, share, go to your Twitter, to your Facebook, share. These photos are for that purpose. And we now come to one of our leaders, to also lead us in a prayer. It could be another person just for 1 minute or less to just lead us in a prayer. Khadija, do you lead us in a prayer, please? And then we close the meeting. If it's allowed, Khadija, would you want to lead us to just clear?
Okay.
Okay.
Let us pray. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Say Amen.
Amen.
We can also pray. We can also pray.